So there's a new ad out there from Midas Touch that goes after Trump and his family for scamming his donors. Take a look.
Trump donors. Times are tough. After destroying the economy,
The U.S. economy contracted a record-shattering 32.9% last quarter.
causing massive death,
More than 150,000 people have died of the coronavirus in the U.S.
Trump is begging you for money. And begging, and begging. For money to support Don Jr.'s girlfriend and Eric's wife. His hotels. Ferraris for his campaign managers. Golden toilets for Jared and Ivanka. He defrauded a cancer charity. He bankrupted casinos, his companies, a fake university, our country. Don't be Don's next con.
All right, so look, another new ad. Love it. It's pretty good. To be fair, we don't know if Jared and Ivanka actually do have a golden toilet or not. But toilets aside, I think this ad points out his corruption pretty clearly in a very obviously easy to digest manner. And so that is good messaging. I love it. So let me give you a little bit more context into the charity scams in case you're wondering, right? So last year, President Trump had to pay $2 million to 8 different charities as part of a settlement in which Trump admitted that he misused funds raised by the Donald J. Trump Foundation to promote his presidential bid and to pay off business debts. And by the way, Trumps are no longer allowed to be near a charity ever again as a result, at least in New York. So now who did he rip off? Well, according to the New York Times, this is an amazing list. Trump paid that restitution to the Army Emergency Relief Fund, the Children's Aid Society, so ripping off the kids, City Meals on Wheels, wow, Give an Hour, Martha's Table, the United Negro College Fund, the United Way of National Capital Area, and the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. Dude scammed Meals on Wheels and a Holocaust museum. Scumbag of epic proportions. Holy crap. And by the way, he admitted in court, when this had went to court, that he had used $10,000 of donor money to buy a picture of himself. That's what Donald Trump does with donor money. Now, look, if you're talking about really wealthy donors, that ended up getting like a giant return on investment from his campaign when he lowered taxes for the rich. I don't care if he scams you, right? And actually, you did get a pretty good return on investment. But I'm talking about like the regular donor, the person who is, living in a trailer, they're working a job, not even living in a trailer, but they're just working at a normal job, right? And they're like, oh man, I like that. I like what Donald Trump's saying. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go give him $10. Don't do that. He's literally scamming you out of your money. You got nothing. I mean, who the hell is dumb enough to give Donald Trump money in the first place? I mean, even to loan him money, like the banks, other than Deutsche Bank, no one else would loan him money because, as that ad pointed out, he's went bankrupt 6 times running casinos. Okay, he's a terrible businessman. Awful, awful. If you give him money, you are going to be scammed. He is a huckster. He's a charlatan. He's terrible at business. That said, right, if you do give to his campaign and you know all this stuff, and you're like, oh, well, I just think that's fake news. Well, then I guess I don't feel bad for you. And those people exist, and they don't care about the facts. I think they just like the fact that Donald Trump says he hates the people that they hate. They want to own the libs. I mean, that's what it's about. Okay. And that's the thing about conservative ideology. It's purely reactionary. They're not advocating for solutions, they're fighting against them. And so they want to bring it back to a time that's what Make America Great Again is. Bring it back to a mythical time that didn't actually exist, but when white people were on top, essentially, right? And so, yeah, a lot of people are going to give money to this guy so he can keep owning the libs, right? And so I always thought that was a really funny concept, right? So they think that, oh, if I hold up a Trump 2020 sign, if I yell Trump 2020 or write that in the comments, oh man, oh that's gonna really trigger the libs. No, it just makes me feel bad for you because you're not obviously not a good person or a smart person, and so it's a little bit pathetic. And I mean that's all I have to say about that. But there is hope. Trump's losing a lot of people due to coronavirus. And I don't mean just because they're dying, which in some cases they are. That's also true. But he is losing people because they do realize, as a result of coronavirus and being able to stay home and to watch the news cycles and to not only see what he's been doing, but also feel what he's been doing. Because, yes, they might be like, well, the fake news media, they lie. But in a lot of cases, all you have to do is just to look at your bank account and then look at what Trump's been saying on the TV and realize there's a little bit of a disconnect here, right? A little bit more of a disconnect. And so you start to realize that, especially when you're not blinded by hatred. And so they realize they've been taken for a ride by a man who doesn't really even know how to drive the car.